All right, everybody, we got a good one today. I was at the gym when I came across this little gem here, and first and foremost, I'm not going to comment on her appearance. I don't do that whole, oh, she's a 2 or 3 at best. I don't really give a crap. I think she's attractive. I won't give her a specific rating, but she's not an ugly person. I've definitely have been attracted to women that are at her level and below and higher. So there's a wide range based off of who you are as a person. And, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We ultimately know what we like at the end of the day. But enough of my preamble. Let's react to this lovely young lady here. So the male loser epidemic is getting so bad. Let's hear about this male loser epidemic.
The male loser epidemic has gotten so bad that it's honestly so pathetic at this point. Like, why do you think you're fucking lonely? You're fucking lonely because we don't want to be with you.
All right, so let's start off with that. First and foremost, gotta appreciate her putting on product throughout the entire video. Okay, so she said that the reason men are lonely is because nobody wants to be with you. Is she going to provide a reason why nobody wants to be with you? Let's find out what her insightful insight of sorts would have to say on the reason that we are all lonely.
Because look at how pathetic you are. I posted a video talking about my standards and what I expect of men, which is basically just basic decency. You got to be consistent. You got to communicate. You got to make straight up plans. I'm not just fucking hanging out with you.
Okay, but you know what? Let's let her play a little more.
It's got to be at a nice restaurant. And on the second day, I will ask you for a gift. And
okay. You see, at first, consistency, being a decent human being, I totally get that. And fellas, yes, you should be that indeed. But, you know, you start letting somebody talk long enough, you really start to realize what kind of person they are. And what she's telling you here is that not only do you have to make plans, which you should make plans. I think if you're asking somebody out, you should make plans, but the expectation of going to a really high-end restaurant, especially if you don't really know this person that well yet, it's kind of unrealistic. Some people do it. Yes, if you're a high-value, high-worth man, you're certainly capable of taking them to a restaurant that's of high tier. But you know what? You go on a Cheesecake Factory with me at the beginning. Either that or, you know, we're drinkers. We're going to sit at a bar. We're just going to have a conversation and we're going to see if we actually like each other before I continue to invest any further in you. If you're dating somebody or you have the intent to date somebody and they want you to be a nice person, that's great. But if their expectation after you've made plans is that you take them to a high-end restaurant, it doesn't make you a brokey, okay? If you don't want to take them to a high-end restaurant. It's not an obligation, okay? You don't know this person. You don't have any, you're not tied to them in any way, shape, or form. This is just somebody that exists in your periphery at this moment, and the date that you go on will dictate on whether or not you want to continue investing in them. If I go out on a date with somebody and they're very pleasant to be around, you best believe I'm going to invest more in them because I find them of value. But if you are a low value individual, then you're going to get low value restaurants. Let's see what else.
And I'm not telling you what to buy me, but I want to see your creativity. I want to see how you court me.
Oh, that's another thing. I completely forgot about the gift on the second date thing. That's a little weird to ask, right? That's a strange expectation. It's like, all right, now that we went through the preliminary state of going out with this person, if you are first courting them in the beginning, there's no way I'm going to get you some random gift the next date. What a gift. What am I, Santa Claus? No, you're going to get your gifts progressively as time goes on through us getting to know each other and seeing if we do want to be with each other. And what kind of gift do you want? Do you want a bracelet for your second day anniversary? Like, that's kind of silly. Oh, you want a gold chain? You want golden earrings or diamond earrings on the second day anniversary of the first date that we had? And then I have to guess, because obviously if I've only known you for one day, there's no way that I know you well enough for me to know what would be an appropriate gift that you're not just going to like spit back in my face. And honestly, guys, look, let's be real here. People like this that expect, you to buy them a gift in the second date, you might want to go elsewhere. There's greener pastures out there. I guarantee you that. It doesn't mean that she's not worth getting a gift for, okay? Because I'm sure these type of people, they hang out with like the upper echelon, like the 1%. So they hang out with rich men, so that's sort of their expectation. But for the average man, because the majority of you are average men, if you find yourself in a situation where you're going out on a second date and they're expecting a gift, just dip. Don't waste your time. I don't care how hot they are. I don't care how well they seduced you the first time if they chose to give it up, on the first date. I don't care about any of that. If they're expecting so many things from you early on, then it's only going to get worse. And remember, this is something that you guys always need to remember, okay? You literally train the way somebody treats you, okay? So if you let somebody treat you like crap once, it could be a mistake. If you let it happen twice or thrice, at that point, you trained them and you told them how you want them to talk and treat you. Okay, so don't allow somebody that you don't even know to treat you in this manner. Okay, let's hear what else she's got to say.
I have standards. I also date high net worth individuals because that's my fucking circle. That's who I hang out with. That's who I am. I make a lot of money, so I'm going to hang out with people who also make a lot of.
Okay, so because she's rich, she's essentially saying she only wants to hang out with rich people. Kind of what I said earlier. You do tend to hang around people that are of your similar socioeconomic status. If you really don't think that's the truth, how many of you hang out with homeless people? I bet you none of you do. If you have an apartment, even if you have a room that you rented, you're most likely not hanging out with someone that's homeless. When you are hanging out with homeless people, when you yourself are homeless and you're on the street. So I guess if she's running in those circles, like I said, it's still a weird expectation to have of somebody to buy you a gift because you don't know these people. Now, what are you dating? What kind of intention are you dating with? Are you dating to get married? Are you dating just for a long-term relationship that you hope can become fruitful and turn into something else going forward? Or are you just casually dating where, you're going to swap this person out, in like a month or two? Because if it's the latter and you choose to get her a gift and you're a high net worth man, then yeah, sure, do your thing. If you don't really plan on keeping them, it's all good. Because let's face it, dudes that make a lot of money, they don't necessarily stay faithful. You do have exceptions, obviously, hashtag not all. I'm not going to make all high net worth men seem like that's the case. But, a lot of guys want to have your cake and eat it too, especially if they can afford to. But for us average mere mortals out there, okay, the expectation should be that you're dating to hopefully build something, right? So let's see what else she's got.
Of money because it's about the mindset, because we're always trying to work on each other. And these men fucking went crazy in the fucking comments. It's like, oh, you're 6 at best, bitch. I don't care what you think of me, because the men in my life, the men that I date, the men that I hang out with, actually think that it's wonderful that I am achieving so much in their life.
Okay, well, obviously nobody takes it well when you insult them. So if somebody's calling you a 6 at best or whatever, it's okay to snap back. I don't really find anything wrong with that. I will say though that you probably said something worth getting that treatment over. Let's be realistic here. Based off of her demeanor, I could tell that unless you're spoiling her, she's probably not a very pleasant person to you. She looks like the type of person that yells at waitstaff. Hopefully not, because that's just cruel. I don't think anybody should yell at somebody trying to earn an honest living. You know what I mean? I do agree that trolling for the sake of trolling isn't really good. Now, I don't know what she said. This is the only video I've ever seen of her. I don't know what she does for a living. I don't know how she acquires her fortune, right? But you know what? If these are the dudes that she dates and this is what she's comfortable with, then this is the expectation that she's setting for herself. But there's a dark side to that. Now, I don't know if she actually wants to date long-term or for marriage, but if she does, the circle of men, statistically, it's not going to happen, because I can guarantee you she's probably single, or if she's not single, she's probably dating, but doesn't have somebody steady that she wants to be with, at the moment at least.
They think it's wonderful and actually help me set higher standards for the men in my life that are walking into my life. They teach me how to think. They teach me how to carry myself in the world. They teach me about men like you and how to stay away from them. So I think it's just fucking ridiculous that these fucking bitch-ass losers are...
Whoa, bitch-ass losers. You know what? If these dudes that she's dating are teaching her, how to be a better person, good for her, sure thing. I will say, though, I'm curious to know what they teach you. Do they teach you about business? Are they teaching you how to be a kinder person with your newfound fortune? Are they teaching you to just not, be a decent human being? Or are they telling you to stay away from brokies? Because that's basically the generic advice that most high net worth men would probably say, I'm not going to call them high value men, because there's a difference between someone that's high value and high net worth. You can be high value and make like 50K a year, and you can have a family, you can be happy with that family. And you know what? If your kids look up at you and they smile every day, then you're the most high valued person in their lives and you've won. Okay. So I would still encourage you to always try to be the best version of yourself, because why the heck not? We only have so long on this mortal coil before our bodies deteriorate and disappear into the wind. Why not try to do the best that we can with the time that we are allotted on this world? But once more, I will say, she is kind of putting the majority of men in this category. There are a lot of trolls out there, I will say, but it's a little disingenuous to say most men, because she would hate it if we said most women, right? So, we got to call a spade for what it is. If you do put out videos on the internet, people do have the right to critique you and to give their perspective on you. That kind of, that just goes with the nature of things. The same thing happens to me. Every time I put out a video, I have to realize that the odds of somebody going to say something negative about me is very high, even though I think I do fairly balanced content, sometimes not everything I say is going to jive well with others. So that's something that you kind of have to expect. Her demeanor and her way of acting kind of works for the internet, because, you aren't rewarded if you're quiet and docile. So sometimes you got to be a little aggressive to get attention in this world.
Are fucking sitting there. No fucking high worth individual and no respectable man is gonna sit on the internet and curse out a random person, period. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I'll fucking troll you if you're coming at me. I'll fucking troll you. But other
yeah, the complete lack of self-awareness is kind of funny, because she's doing exactly what she's saying that she wouldn't do, and she tries to caveat it by saying that, if you're trolling me, I would do it. And obviously, if somebody trolls you, you have the right to troll them back. I'm never going to say that you shouldn't do that, but there's a little bit of lack of self-awareness there. I'm not sure she realizes what she actually said there.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. No one who's respectable and has time and has things going for them is going to sit there and bully somebody. And no one who actually knows their value is going to sit in a relationship and bully them and tell them you can't get anything better than what I can offer you. You don't have anything to offer.
Bully. I'm gonna start saying it like that. Don't let anyone bully you, okay? That's okay. We all have certain verbal tics that we don't say words right necessarily. So some of us are like that. It's okay. So I can agree with one thing that she said. Any self-respecting person that, has things going for themselves, if you have any bit of anything happening in your life that's worth happening, you're not going to really go around picking on people on the internet. The people that do that are trolls. They are parasitic organisms that just take from you and don't have anything to give or offer or build. They just exist in this void of, depression and horror, and they want to bring others down with them, because let's face it, misery loves company, right? Now, it's okay to give a critique. If you're giving an honest critique, then that's fine. But I can agree with that. I will say she's a bit of a bully too, because if you have a large audience and, you attack people, like let's say, for example, she singled out anybody in the comments and she sort of sent her followers their way, that's a form of bullying too. Now, I'm not saying she has done that, because there's no way of knowing. I once more, this is the only video that I've seen, but she sounds like she'll yell at you if you don't agree with her on things.
You are what we're all running away from. You are lonely because you're a motherfucking loser. It's fucking embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed for you, and it's most fucking men too. It's literally most fucking men. Most men are fucking losers and they know it, and then they're like, oh, well, we're just gonna fucking bully you into being with us again because we're losing control. Bitch, fuck off. Fuck off. I don't care about you, okay? All right? I really don't care about you.
Now, this is obviously speaking from a point of privilege, because for you to say most men are losers, that's a little disingenuous. The world functions because of blue collar men, the men that have the ability to get up every morning, brew that pot of coffee and go to a job that they hate so that they can support their families. you know, the ones that keep the infrastructure running. And, you know, some women do too as well, obviously, but it's the majority are men. You know, it's kind of a little messed up when you say that most men are losers because a couple of people picked on you on the internet. That just kind of goes to show your character, you know? Again, yes, it is wrong for people to pick on you for the sake of picking on you, but if you had a shitty take on the internet, I think it's well within anyone's right to you know, criticize it, right? Because that's what we all do. And this is a perfect example of somebody that can't really take it. Now, granted, this is obvious rage bait, right? This is straight up rage bait. I'll check out some of her content just to see what she really talks about and see if this video was, you know, prompted, you know, like if she actually deserved to, or not deserved, because you can do whatever you want, but if she was justified in actually making this video. If somebody hates on you, yeah, you can tell them to fuck off. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But, you know, haters are going to hate, and you need haters. You do. You need haters. You need people in this world that don't like your perspectives and don't like you, because if you don't have any haters, you're invisible, because your haters are your greatest supporters at the end of the day. Your friends don't support you the way haters support you. You'll have people that literally hate watch you and give you, you know, that watch time and ad revenue because they don't like you. People that make hit pieces on you will do it because they're fans most of the time, you know, and you do get that sort of parasocial relationship with most people where I think, you know, after a certain while, if you don't give them the attention that they seek, they do start to inevitably pick on you. And I do think that's wrong. So shame on anyone that does troll for the sake of trolling. But if somebody got offended off of something you said, they're going to say what they're going to say. Like, just deal with it.
Yep, step aside. Let the men who have done work on their mindset and themselves actually step forward and lead. Because obviously, you're like a little child.
Your little child finishes it with the you gotta love that. I mean, like, honestly, this is sort of a nothing burger of a video. I'm using this as content. I do want to do more reaction style content, and I will say, look, in short, she's well within her right to say what she wants to say. You know, like I said, if you get your feelings hurt, some people respond aggressively. That's just the reality of life. You know, you'll have people that are docile and kind of just let people bully them around, and you'll also have people that fight back, right? If you're quiet and docile your entire life, you're not going to really get anywhere. So sometimes people do have to fight back, and that's okay. I will say her overall message, I think where it's flawed, is that you're putting most men in this category because most men aren't bullies. You know, if that were the case, I always say this, if the majority of men were bad people, you wouldn't be able to walk in the street and exist as a woman without something happening to you almost 24/7. Because when you are saying most, you are encompassing a large number, the majority, almost everyone that you see. Most would be 8 out of 10 people, right? So you'll have 2 people that are good, and then you'll have the other 8 that are just monsters. If everybody was a monster like this, you wouldn't be able to exist in this world as a female. You would be enslaved somewhere in a corner, you know what I mean? Begging for scraps, you know, and that's not the world that you live in. You live in a world where you can make these type of videos and you can make money off of it. You can monetize your anger. The same way the manosphere monetizes men's pain, you know, you can monetize your anger, and you are doing that. You're a capitalist. Congratulations. You're doing what you have to do in order to survive. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But once more, that's just a shitty mentality to say most, because God forbid we say most women are blank, right? If we say that, you know, it is a whataboutism, but it's also the truth. Like, we would be shat on and we will get socially ostracized by the majority of society, because in spite of what you might say, let me not say most, men do police other men, okay? You have the ability to scream and yell in the middle of the street if somebody is bothering you, and it'll be like a sonar. It's just a wave that other men are gonna hear, and they're gonna be like, huh? Something's going on? I gotta check this out. And then they're gonna go check it out. And if the guy is being a bully, then they're gonna put him in his place. That's usually what happens. This is what we colloquially refer to as a white knight, right? And sure, sometimes it is justified because some dudes don't know how to act, and they need to be told about themselves. They need to be policed. But then you also have some dudes that are probably just socially awkward, that don't really necessarily know how to interact that well. And, you know, because they're socially awkward, they're often seen as something that they're not. Okay. Now, to end this video, I'm not going to defend the actions of men that do attack you and troll you in the comments because, you know, whatever, it is what it is. I'm not going to defend that. But I'm also not going to defend this idea that most men are losers, you know, because I just don't think that's the reality we all live in, you know. But with that said, you've all been awesome. I'm outie. Deuces.